A caricature of a politician fades as soon as that person leaves office. When likeness is the only hook, relevance dies with the news cycle. To create satire with a longer shelf life, we target the behavior of the system itself. Kafka's work focused on being caught in an environment of absolute rules with no logical purpose. Notice how these official stamps physically press in on his portrait. We represent that existential pressure through a specific aesthetic, the heavy, chaotic textures of underground comics. Dense cross-hatching and grotesque body proportions make the environment feel physically heavy. We're going to combine these elements into a single-panel, vertical cartoon for social feeds, titled The Form That Requires Itself. Targeting universal bureaucratic patterns ensures the work remains recognizable for decades. A cartoon about a redundant form is as relevant today as it was 50 years ago, regardless of who is in power. We start with a 9/16 vertical frame. Because this is a narrow sliver of space, it forces you to stack your subjects vertically. You have to prioritize a single clear line of action, which prevents the eye from wandering into secondary subplots or background clutter. To make the image instantly readable, we divide the canvas into 3 zones for text and interaction. We set a low camera angle. Looking up at the scene places the viewer in the subordinate position of the trapped character. In the foreground, we sketch the worker. Avoid specific likenesses. Focus instead on signs of procedural fatigue, like slumped shoulders and trembling hands. Looming in the background is the bureaucratic creature. It's not a biological monster. It's office supplies. We use staplers for jaws and manila folders for skin to make the system feel physical. We draw the creature larger than the worker, visually demonstrating the weight of the institution. The creature shouldn't look angry. It should look indifferent. In a bureaucracy, the fact that the system doesn't care about you is more unsettling than if it were actively trying to hurt you. Prioritizing this power dynamic in your blocking ensures the viewer understands the emotional stakes immediately. Next, we build the environment. Perfectly straight lines suggest order, which is the opposite atmosphere needed. Instead, we warp the walls and curve the desk inward. Bending the architecture toward the center of the frame makes the room feel like it is slowly collapsing on the characters. We add layers of peeling, overlapping notices to the walls. This creates a sense of visual noise that reinforces the feeling of administrative chaos. With the pencils set, we move to inking. Here, we apply rendering techniques that define tone. Use heavy cross-hatching on the creature's skin. Look at this example. Overlapping lines create a texture that feels grimy and physical. We use that same ink density for shadows under the worker's eyes. It's visual shorthand for deep, procedural exhaustion. For the fluorescent light, we use shaky outlines, implying a constant flicker the viewer almost hears. We build ink density in stages, keeping background walls light and scratchy, making foreground shadows thick and claustrophobic. By combining this warped geometry with dense ink, we trap the viewer in the same unstable psychological space as the protagonist. Now for lettering. In a successful cartoon, the text supports the visual joke. It doesn't carry it. The central prop is the form itself. We letter it with a circular, impossible requirement. Form 0, required before completing Form 0. In the top margin, we add the setup from the creature. It should be entirely deadpan. In the bottom margin, we deliver the quiet reveal. The missing sections are the instructions themselves. Pairing an impossible task with polite, mundane captions captures the true absurdity of bureaucracy. The logic is broken, but the tone remains perfectly professional. Here is the final inked and lettered panel. Every element, from the camera angle to the ink density, contributes to the central idea of systemic entrapment. The final image works because it targets a behavior rather than a person. It creates an immediate emotional reaction of discomfort through its texture and blocking. This design is also modular. You can extract that creature or those warped walls and reuse them in a different context, like a leadership duel or a policy debate. Mastering this style gives you an endlessly recyclable toolkit. You can critique any institution, anywhere, without needing to draw a single politician's face.